This week, I want to talk about the types of psychic senses. Now, if you are new to the show, because the show is so new, I am Chrissy Smith, and Rebellious Intuition started because I feel like I'm being called to put my intuition out there and go out and help people with it and not keep it all to myself as something private. Welcome to Rebellious Intuition. So let's talk about some psychic senses. I feel like everybody is told that we're all psychic to some extent. And I think by exploring more aspects of this, we'll find what resonates with us. What resonates with me is going to be different than what resonates with you. And that's what makes us all unique and interesting. But think about the psychic senses the same way we think about regular senses. Like hearing, taste, smell. We all know someone whose sense of taste is entirely different than our own. Someone whose sense of hearing is entirely different than our own, or sense of smell. I know there are people who just easily can pick out smells that I don't notice anymore. So let's think about our psychic senses in a similar way. And I pulled a whole bunch of examples. Some are very new to me. So again, I am your host and fellow learner. By the way, anybody who doesn't think of themselves as a learner, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, no, we're all learners. We're all here learning. So usually we're hearing about things like clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience. So my first step was to look up the clairs. And what does clair mean? And from what I read and went back and double checked, it's a French word for clear, like clarity. I'm not sure how that became part of psychic senses, but it did. Somehow it did. So let's talk about some of the ones that I pulled out. And I know there are so many more. Clairaudience. I want you to think audio and think sound. So clairaudience is when we have sounds or we hear a voice. For me, it's sometimes like, I swear I heard someone call my name. I get that a lot where I'm like, did someone just call my name? Or did one of my dogs just bark? But both of my dogs are sleeping there beside me, and I'm like, that was weird. Okay, I heard something, and it's not something that I can verify here in person. It does not seem to be just like the neighbor's dog. My other job, I work with dogs. I know all the voices of the dogs in my neighborhood. Again, senses. We all have different senses. I can tell the difference. I'm like, oh, that's the guy 2 doors down. Once in a while, though, I hear something that I cannot confirm is happening in my environment. That's clairaudience, hearing something, or somebody says a name or whispers something to you. I think a lot of us have experienced that. So let's pause for a minute and think about times when you may have experienced clairaudience. You heard sounds. You heard something, a voice, a bark. But you heard something. It's hearing without using your ears, really. It feels different. Now, clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, I want you to think about visual. Clairvoyance is about seeing, where maybe you see something out of the corner of your eye, or you notice something sparkle, or you look over and there's just something very different over in the side of your view. For me, it tends to be just kind of out of view, or a glimpse that I have to do a double take. I saw something. Or I'm asking about something specific, and maybe I see an image of the thing that I'm asking about. What does it look like? Or, tell me more about it. And maybe I see an image of the barn or whatever it was. But that's clairvoyance, clairsentience. I had a feeling that I shouldn't go down that way. And then later on you find out that, there was a big car accident down that road, all backed up. But you just had a feeling. You just had a feeling. I think so many of us were taught that you observed something in your environment and therefore it's not actually a psychic sense. Perhaps, right? I'm open to the idea that there's something else that I noticed, intellectually noticed, and then came up with, my imagination came up with it. But also there are so many times where, there's absolutely no way I could have known. But clairsentience, that feeling, that knowing, I saw a listing for a dog and I knew that was my dog. Now you could say, well, of course, I mean, you answered the ad, so it became your dog. Oh, that is not necessarily true. I'll tell you what, because one of those experiences I've had in my own life was I saw an ad for a dog and then I had to fight real hard to get him. But it was that feeling, that absolute, that's my dog. Here's another one. This one I learned about recently. I was at a psychic fair and craft fair last weekend, and I was talking to one of the readers about my podcast. I'm trying to get people on the show. But she said, okay, you listed off some of the clairs, but clairgustance, what is that? Yeah, clairgustance is taste. It's when you can taste something in your mouth. Ooh, interesting. Something bitter or sweet, or I don't know if I've ever experienced that. Interesting. Like, ooh, I thought that one was pretty cool. Clairtangency is touching an object and getting information from it. All right, I don't know if I've ever tried that. I think I want to explore that more. So holding an object and meditating on it and holding it and trying to get information just by touching the object. I've seen some videos of people who are like, I picked something up and went, oh no, nope, put it down. Because they instantly had a feeling associated with touching that object. They're like, nope, that's not an object I want to ever touch again. I would say that's clairtangency. Clairalience is smell. I think I'm saying that right. Bear with me, I'm a fellow learner. Clairalience is smell. That one I've definitely experienced. Does anyone else smell cigar smoke? Or cigarette smoke? Now, I know people who have done that with perfume smells. Perfume or flowers. It's the middle of winter. Why do I smell roses? Ooh, there's a memory with roses, and it reminds me of somebody who may be trying to reach me, who may be trying to communicate with me. How cool is that? But there's a word for that, and that's clairalience. Clairempathy is sensing emotions. Yeah, I've experienced that one. Why am I so sad? You walk down the hall and there's someone crying and you're like, oh, I'm catching on to someone else's sadness. Interesting. For me, it's more of a sadness thing. Although I gotta say, I try to radiate joy and happiness, because what if someone else is sensing clairempathy and gets this message of like, hey, let's enjoy. Let's be joyous in this moment. That would be great, wouldn't it? Let's just enjoy joy. So when we start thinking of these senses, I think we tend to forget that there are just so many. There are so many versions, and I'm sure there are a lot more. These were the ones that I understood a little bit better. Your fellow learner. But think about what kind of psychic senses are available to us, and then start noticing. Because what if, as you explore your own psychic senses, what if you start noticing things a little bit differently, because now they have a definition. Now you know what they are, and you can say, ooh, interesting. Is that feeling my own feeling, or am I feeling something from somebody else? Why do I have that taste in my mouth? Is that something I'm experiencing, or is that somebody else? What was that noise? Is that something I'm experiencing, or is that somebody else? And maybe just being more aware and feeling comfortable with that. Yeah, also feeling comfortable with that. I want to point out that some of us have kept our intuition to ourselves because we were always told it's something you should be afraid of. And I wasn't told it was something I should be afraid of, but I know many people who were. I want you to think about it as a gift and go, interesting. What if this is someone trying to tell me something about their world? You probably have experienced these things before. Explore it and think about how neat it is. And maybe that's something you want to do more of. Sometimes just recognizing that we are doing it could be part of us doing it more. If you are interested in a tarot card reading with me, there is a link at rebelliousинtuition.com where you can book a reading. They're entirely online, unless you happen to be close by. I mean, I'm in New Hampshire. I'd love to do readings in person, but we can do a Zoom call and we can definitely connect and get a really fun card reading. I really, really enjoy reading cards, which is why I've been called to do this. And I am looking for guests if you are interested in being a guest on this show. And everybody have a great week.